Okay, everybody, it's Doug Dysert here, aka Shogi. We're on green chess, and we're about to play a game against none other than Ed Trice, the man himself, the one who invented the game, known as Gothic chess on green chess, and it's known as Trice's chess everywhere else. So let's get into this game we just opened up, and I'm going to play my favorite opening, which is kind of crazy, and I really shouldn't play it, but I don't know how to play anything else, and everything else seems boring, so I always play g4, push the pawn right in front of the archbishop 2 squares forward, and we call it the spike opening. So now we got Ed Trice here. He's going to let us know what he's going to do. Ed, take it away.
Well, that move is so strong, I'm going to have to come back tomorrow after I analyze it. So we'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, it's been fun.
No, I'm just kidding. Independent analysis, mostly from the workshop of John Very and myself, we verified that G4, G5, D4, which is the goalpost opening, really gives white a strong attack. Not an unfair attack, obviously, but the move here for black, which is pawn to E5, kind of limits white's response. You can't play D4 here, but the spike opening still has other venues of play here that white can engage, and now Doug's going to explain what he's going to try.
Okay, so I like to push my pawn to G5, but if I do that now, I just hang it. So I'm going to support it with the not-so-obvious knight to H3.
Yeah, one thing you want to watch out, especially if you're pushing your E-pawn early, notice how vulnerable the king is along the A3 to F8 diagonal. Now, it's not a fatal weakness unless you push D5 after white has played B3, because next is coming that bishop A3 check, which is really nasty. So whenever you push E5, always make a mental note. You want to follow it up with D6. There's absolutely no harm in this move. It's kind of like the Pierce defense. You know, only we're playing it on the queen side instead of the king side, and there's no fianchetto, but it's the same thing. You're going to protect the king, solidify the king's position. And now it's Doug's turn to try and come up with a move.
All right, so I prepared pushing to G5 with the knight move, and also the pawn is under threat by the bishop because of the discovered attack with the D6 move, so I'm going to push it again, because why not push the same piece twice in the opening?
And this is a thematic position that has come up quite a few times in the spike opening from various permutations of it, and it's an automatic response that you can make with your eyes closed to play pawn to G6. It's an absolute must move. First of all, it's releasing the bishop. You're getting a little stronger support along that critical diagonal. But most importantly, it's keeping that pawn from being part of a pawn storm that's going to roll at you later and kick your butt, especially if you castle king side.
All right, and so I don't really know where to put my pawns at this point, so I'm just going to go ahead and stick my knight on C3. Flexible move.
Flexible move, thematic, nothing wrong with it. Of course, one of the surprises here is the move here for black. The best move is pawn to H6, and that has come up countless times in my games with John Very, and also if you look at the video on YouTube where I'm playing Grandmaster Susan Polgar, 4-time world women's 8x8 chess champion, she played that early against me in our game that we played on October 14th, 2006. So I play pawn to H6 here, again, almost without thought. You don't have to worry about white wanting to capture there. He's going to surrender too much control. And you've got choices how you're going to recapture with the archbishop or the knight. Both of them will help your position.
All right, very cool. So taking on H6 here is not very attractive. I just give a tempo to black. I have to do something about that pawn. I mean, I don't really care that much about pawns in this game, but just letting it hang is kind of dumb. So I'm going to support it the best way I know how, which is just to play D3. And for some reason, no, the screen switched for some reason. But okay, so we're back on, and if you're watching this video, you're going to say, what just happened? For some reason, it switched. Must be a touch screen glitch. But anyway, we're back. And so I played D3 to support.
Yeah, and that is the correct move here because E5 is obviously detrimental. Black has control of D4. Just look at the diagonal from H8 to D4. And black is conquering that in spades. So D3 is the preferred move here. This, from my understanding, is new territory. I don't think we've played a spike with D3 against D5. Now, what you might want to do as black is start eyeing D4. What piece can I launch that's going to increase my control of D4? And it's an obvious move. It's one people have played countless times, even in 8x8 chess, and that's just knight to C6.
Okay. Yeah, I remember we have our buddy Drunk Pyromaniac here watching this game with us, and he might remember we had a game on Discord, which we're actually talking through Discord right now, and we had a game where it was kind of a group game against Ed, and I remember the knight went to C6, and I don't know whose decision it was, but someone decided to go ahead and just snap that knight on C6 with the bishop from H1 and mess up black's pawns, and I thought it was a bad idea at first, but it seemed to make the game pretty interesting, you know? But now I have to decide. I don't think I like that myself. So I really don't know. This is tough. What do I do? Yeah, I don't know. It seems like a nice, simple position where there's nothing too exciting to do, and at the same time, making a wrong decision here can really wreck my pawn structure going forward. Because I know Ed, and he likes to take over the center slowly. He starts out making it look like nothing's happening, and then he just takes over. I need to make sure that doesn't happen here if I can help it. So what to do? What would Ed do if he were playing white here? I don't know.
I'd resign.
Yeah, pretty sure that would never happen. That would never happen. Okay, well, I think I need to push one of my center pawns.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's either E4 or F4. But which one? I don't know. I'm going to be crazy.
What did I tell you about F4 in these type of positions?
I don't know. What did you tell me?
What does it block in?
Well, it blocks the archbishop, so I can get the arch out. Right?
What else does it block in that's a minor piece that has control of dark squares? Give me a hint. It starts with a B and it rhymes with bishop.
Yeah, so if I put the pawn on F4, it blocks my bishop a little bit.
Yeah, remember, in this variant, right, most often white's light square bishop is a defensive bishop. It typically goes to G2 and guards H3 so that there's no bishop takes H3 check, forcing you to recapture with the I pawn. On the other side of the board, your bishop on the dark squares is most likely gunning for H6 and supporting the H6 square, so that if I ever have a knight on H6, which I don't have now, you could do the same thing. You could play knight takes H6 check if there's an unimpeded diagonal, and then my archbishop has to babysit to wait around and play archbishop takes A6. Otherwise, I play I takes A6, and I've ruined the kingside pawn structure, and I definitely wouldn't want a castle there. So given the choices of F4 or E4 here, I would take E4 every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
All right. Well, you know what they say about taking your opponent's advice, but I'm going to take it anyway. I'm playing E4.
All right. I can't believe you actually listened to me.
That was stupid. I'm going to regret that.
Almost an automatic reply here is to use my bishop defensively to add coverage to H6 so it doesn't become a problem later on. I mean, there's nothing harmful about it. White's got a little light squared pawn chain going. If he wants to start playing for contention along the long diagonal where H6 is covered, I want to make sure that I got at least a minor piece guarding it.
All right, now I can see also that your archbishop could go to I6 and be annoying hitting my queen. So I'm wondering if I should put something on that diagonal.
I'm not giving you any more advice because you're my enemy.
Come on, give me some tips. I don't know what to do. Okay.
I would say move one of the white pieces for sure.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. So I guess great minds think alike here. Oh, I don't know. What to do? Well,
this is what I call the shogi consternation phase when he starts seeing ghosts every time it's his turn to move.
Yes, it happens a lot when I play Ed. I like playing people that walk into nice traps early on, so I don't have to think too hard. Except for Letchworthshire, however you say that British name. All right, let's see. Because he got revenge on me pretty quick. I don't know. Greg, are you there?
Why don't you do ask the audience and see what Greg says?
Yeah. So audience, i.e., Greg, did you happen to catch that game, my tournament game against Leicestershire here on Green Chess?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. It's probably just as well because it was. It looked like it was going to be an exhilarating victory and easy money, and then all of a sudden it turned into a rather embarrassing defeat. I did not like it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have told anybody about that game if I lost that way too.
That's okay. Then the guy
I'm just busting on you, Doug. You know that.
He turned around and drew John Very, none other than the national master himself. So I said, okay, I don't feel so bad now.
Yeah, did you see that game, Greg? He gave up 3 minor pieces for 2 pawns to create an unusual repetition draw with the Chancellor against John Very. Ponder shifts.
I think I saw a couple of the positions from it that you were bringing up in Discord.
Yeah, it was like unbelievable. Like the guy had just an incredible imagination to come up with, just to even try a sequence like that. Just throwing away 2 pieces when he's in a bad position to begin with. But there was almost like no way to figure out that was going to be a repetition draw. Now, but once you played out all the little tactics, Black's side, if it was his side to move, had mate in 1. And the only way John Very's side could draw him was pushing the pawn to I3. And it was just unbelievable. Like, I was flabbergasted by
it. Oh, Greg, I don't know if you're actually following this game. I
am.
Oh, you are? Okay, very good. I was about to say I'll send you the link if necessary, but since you're already following it, no need. Let's see now. One thing about Green Chess, I'm scrolling down in the video here so people can see that there's private messages and then there's public messages. So I'm going to go into the public messages and say, "Hi, Greg." So now I just said "Hi, Greg" down there, and that means that if Greg or anybody else wants to, they can actually put a comment in there. So we can actually have a dialogue in the public comments there.
All right, I'm trying to see if since you're kind of creating a symmetrical-ish position on the king side, I have to make sure that I don't do the same. Plus, I really got to get my knight out somewhere, and I'd love to be able to get it to h7, but it's got to stop at j6 first, but that's like an unusual move. Trying to see if there's anything better I could do. I could probably... I can't even play my bishop to g4 because I don't have my knight on h6 and use Doug's favorite tactic.
Yeah.
The knight guarding the bishop on g4 to strike at a super major. In this case, the queen on d1. So I'm going to try what I call not the best move, not the worst, but the one that should confuse the crap out of the opponent. So maybe he'll misplay, and I'm going to play knight to j6 and hold my breath. And hopefully Doug won't make a monkey out of this position for me.
Oh, that looks like a Capablanca's chess move,
I don't know what that is. Sorry.
Yeah, this position almost looks like you were playing that. The only way for Black to hang in there in almost every game is to have to put the knight on the rim, which is usually dim. But not so much.
Yes, especially if you don't pay your electric bill.
That's right. Or it's Grim, one of the two. Okay.
Remember I told you, like, sometimes I don't look for the objectively best move. I just I just try to play the move that might cause the opponent the most pain. And if you apply a little, the grandmaster analysis, especially in chess life, used to say, play for small incremental advantages. And I didn't understand what that was. And then I kind of adapted it on my own. I just said, well, if I don't know what a small incremental advantage is, let me just play the move that I wouldn't want to face on the other side of the board. And maybe my opponent won't want to face it too.
Right.
So knowing what I'm going to do strategically with the knight, with the option to go to h5 or h7, I think that's going to cause you like a little purplectic fit, hopefully. And, but it's also, the other thing is, it's good to make it your opponent's turn to move because the odds are they can make a mistake. And they're not going to make a mistake while it's your turn to move. So it's better to get something out there. Mm-hmm. But this is obviously not an objectively strong move. It kind of violates strategy. But the idea is I don't have to get to my best square in one move, especially when I'm moving knights on a 10 by 8 board. The board is so wide. look how many different pathways exist from h7 to h5 and where I could end up. All of them seem to be nice little outposts waiting for one of my pawns to support the knight downfield. And that's eventually what I'm going to do. The way I'm going to eventually beat Doug is I'm going to get a knight on the 4th rank and the 3rd rank, and there's not a damn thing he could do about it. And if he trades it too early, I'm going to have an advantage with my bishops.
Whoa.
So that's my prediction for this game. Let's see if it comes true or not, or I sound like an idiot.
Okay, I've decided to go bishop e3 here. A little nervous about your knight.
And that loses immediately.
That figures.
Nah, I'm just fucking with you. You have to be careful when your opponent's striving for dominance on d4. Look what you got. You got a bishop on e3 and a knight on c3. So you don't want me to ever have the opportunity to get a pawn onto d4, right?
That's right.
So you have to be careful. You need to count how many times you control the d4 square too. Now you got the queen back in it. You can push the pawn. You've got the bishop on it, but you have no knight control over d4. But I do. So that means if I create, remember the head of the scorpion, the tail of the scorpion analogy I was telling you?
I know. Bobby Fischer's analogy.
Okay. Like if the pawn is the tail of the scorpion here, and I could create a tactical sequence where I have more control over d4 than you, what do you want me to capture with, the pawn or the knight?
Ooh, I guess.
I'll give you a hint. The answer is the pawn, because if my pawn lands there as the tail of the scorpion, I'm going to have your bishop and knight forked, right?
That's right, yeah.
Quote unquote. Okay, so now I look for combinations where I could do sneaky stuff, like maybe doing some crazy maneuver and try and get the archbishop on the h8. Remember I told you sometimes I look for retreating moves that will increase my strength along d4. Then I could do things like offer up the knight there on d4, but it's too premature yet. So one of the things I'm going to do now is, okay, your queen's in that file. Let me piss off the queen a little bit with a comment you made earlier, and I'll just get my archbishop onto i6.
There it is. Yeah, I was expecting that. Okay, shoot.
Were you?
See, this is where I would wonder if an earlier move, when you moved the bishop to g7, if maybe, or I'm sorry, to g2, maybe f3 would have been a better spot for it.
F3, yeah, because exactly, and for this reason, because you've got the pawn on e4. There's no way I'm going to make an incursion because I have no knight that can do any kind of damage onto g4, and I can't get my bishop there without the knight support on h6. So I would have said, yeah, bishop to f3, probably strategically better, plus it's aligned with the queen on that diagonal, and of course it eliminates the archbishop to i6. So that's a good point there, Pyromaniac.
Whoa, that was a good one.
And then on top of that, you could drop the archbishop on e2 and get a really good battery going.
Oh yeah, that would be killer. Like archbishop on e2, queen on d1, bishop on f3. Yeah.
Now we've seen that before in a couple games that I can remember.
A couple games. I mean, yeah, you can't do that in 8x8 chess. That's for sure. You cannot get 3 diagonal pieces on the same battery. It's just not possible.
Okay, we're bringing out the big guns. I got my archbishop.
Oh, no. He missed the knight attack on h2 for check. I'm just
kidding. Oh, no.
Yeah, now it's a decision. What do I do? I obviously don't want to trade my archbishop for Doug's archbishop because my archbishop is going to do more harm later. I can't throw a piece on there onto, what is that, g4. So by the process of elimination, I can free up h6, which isn't doing me any good because he's got a pawn on g5. But I think my pawn will be better placed on h5 than it would be elsewhere. So I'm going to push my pawn there. Can you guys hear me? Because my screen just locked.
I hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't hit refresh, and the screensaver just done.
Okay, there it is. I was wondering, where's your move?
Yeah, it was to be delivered. It's funny. I was thinking out loud, and I'm like, "Why is it not showing up on the board?" Duh! You gotta make the move.
Okay, so I got a problem here because here comes a nasty pin with the bishop on g4.
Well, you got plenty of control of f3, you know.
Well, that is true, yeah. But it's not going to matter when the bishop comes down to g4 and eats my archbishop, so...
I know. So just pretend that, you know, you want to give up your archbishop for your bishop, like what happened in the Leicestershire game, only with reverse people.
Yeah, I guess the one thing I have that's going good for me here is that, you know, by you playing h5, my g-pawn is rather secure now, so I can kind of focus on just not hanging super majors.
Your g-pawn is your betrayer. It's working for me now as a defender because you cannot get any more color control on the dark diagonal onto h6 or i7. You're just blocking your own men. Now that wouldn't be the case if your knight wasn't on h3 and you could get rolling pawns on my king side, but I also haven't castled yet. So right now h6 is working out better for me than for you.
Whoa. Well, I had to retreat.
You know? But of course that could change like in a moment, right? I mean,
that's true.
You know, it's pawns do have the ability to move later. You know, like you just can't say, this is my pawn structure, don't touch your pawns. I don't think your opponents would agree to that.
Not normally.
Now that your archbishop is off there, look how weak h2 is, right?
Yeah,
so is there any piece I could put somewhere that's going to add pressure onto h2?
Well,
and the answer to that is yes. My worthless knight on j6 can come to i4.
I was going to say there's a second one. Technically, you could throw the bishop on j4, but I wouldn't usually do that.
Nah, like you just kind of like work back retroactively and determine that move. Now, the scary thing is I can't retreat to h6, right? So I'm going to have to come back to j6 if I get chased, but you have to deal with knight takes h2 check, losing the rook next. So let's see how Dougie D does with that.
All right, so I guess the best thing to do here is to castle into the attack. So I'll just go ahead and castle.
Really? Because that was like the worst move on the board.
I know, it has to be. But I figure, well, at least it doesn't hang an immediate fork of my rook on j1. And the king...
Well, remember what I said earlier? I was going to come in with knights onto the 4th rank, remember?
Yeah, you do have a habit of doing
that. Now, how many knights can I put on the 4th rank with my next move?
Well, you can get it up to 2.
That's right. And if I play knight to d4 and I'm attacking your archbishop again, you're going to be tempted to play bishop takes d4, which I said, what do I want to recapture with, my pawn or my knight? Well, since the knight is gone, I'm going to be able to recapture with my pawn, which is going to kick your knight, right? So all of the things that I'm kind of laying the brickwork for are options for me now. But what else can I do here? I could skewer your archbishop and queen with bishop to g4. So the question is, what move is objectively better? Knight to d4 to kick the archbishop, or bishop to g4 to skewer them and force you to weaken your pawn structure a little bit?
Probably the knight move.
Okay, so I'm going to make the bishop move because I don't trust you.
That's right. I'll just try to throw out the move I think is better, and if I'm actually right, then it'll be reverse psychology. But if I'm wrong, like I usually am, it'll actually just play into your hands.
Oh, yeah, yes. I was going to play bishop to g4 here because that, you know, it's psychological. Are you really going to push pawn to f3 here?
See, that's the thing, is I thought after the knight came into d4, bishop takes knight, pawn takes bishop, that moving white's knight to d5 kind of is eyeing putting it on the f6 square, and yeah, it gives up the pawn, but it frees that, gets that pawn out of the way.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it, absolutely. So the other thing is, well, now I can still make my thing come true by putting the knight on d4 later after I kick him around a little bit too. So remember, I said I was going to get my knights onto the 4th rank, and guess what? I'm halfway there.
Okay, well, I'm going to do the obvious block with a pawn.
Which loses immediately.
I'm sure it does. Oh.
All right, so I got... now I'm doing my head of the scorpion, tail of the scorpion analysis. Is there any combination here that works? No. Should I increase the pressure with knight to d4? No, I don't think. So what's the move that would cause Doug the greatest consternation? Can I win your pawn on g5? Yes, I think. No, I can't. Yes, I can. Yeah, your pawn, 1, 2. Let me count the 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm just trying to work out the tactic here in my head. It's not clear. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do head of the scorpion, Doug. What's the head of the scorpion attack here?
Must be the bishop.
Right.
There it is. Okay. Well, I need to keep my pawns in order, so I don't think I want to take with the I pawn.
Yeah, of course. So this is me winning the G pawn.
Man, that's not cool.
Yeah, I saw that like at the last second too.
Did you really?
Yeah. Puts a little more pressure on you now, because now I'm threatening knight takes h3 check, h3 check, which will decimate your king, right?
Mm-hmm.
And are you going to play bishop takes h6? I got 2 pieces on that now.
Yeah, this is tough. You know, that dark square bishop is my good bishop, but it almost feels obligated to be traded off for one of these nasty knights.
Yeah, see, there's 2 good things here for black. One was obviously picking up the pawn, and the other one is giving you the difficult decision. You know, how are you going to handle it? Are you going to retreat to g2 and leave I2 naked? You know,
I would be looking at retreating to f1 personally.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because that's exactly what I was about to do here, but not with the bishop, but with the archbishop.
I did not expect that. Now what should I do? Well, I should keep true to my campaign promises. Now I can play knight to d4.
Yeah, now the good news now is I don't have to worry about the knight actually kicking my archbishop, so that's something. But now these knights are getting real annoying hitting that f3 square.
Yeah, I know. f3 is under attack. See, my long-term strategic plans, although I didn't get both knights on the 4th rank simultaneously, I did get both of them onto the 4th rank, and then I also said on the 3rd, right? So I'm gunning for getting my knight onto the 3rd rank on f3 there.
So now
you know what I'm saying?
I'm doing the retreat of the bishop, not to f1 like Greg said, but g2. So I've had to do a lot of retreating because of these leapers, and I'm down a pawn. So that's kind of annoying. But
I also can set up like the very annoying mate in 1 threat if I play knight to i5 with queen takes j2, right?
That is annoying, yeah.
And obviously there's only one solution for that. You got to take it, you know. But I'm wondering if there's anything better.
Technically, there's other solutions, right?
There's a lot of things you can do here, but I'm trying to figure what's the one that's going to cause Doug the most pain and yet live it up to my prediction of getting both knights onto the 4th rank.
Oh, well.
And I think knight to i4, matches my earlier prediction. But the question is, let me think about this. This is like I can't have my cake and eat it too, but I think it. Excuse me. I think it's good enough to cause you some pain. No, maybe not. Let me try something else first. Let's see where you're going to put your chancellor.
We. Now, how did that happen?
Well, I just moved that little black dude over to I5.
I know, it's like my chancellor seems to be checkmated at the moment. Just about.
Yeah, like I said, it's something I saw at the last second. Don't surround yourself with yourself. Move on back to squares. You didn't pay attention to that song.
No, I did not. Oh no, I'm surrounded by myself. Okay, well, I guess the rest of the game can be a quick and painless death. So, I don't know. Question is, what material do I have to give up here to not just give up the Chancellor?
I think you can make it out by only giving up one pawn.
Let's see now. If I give up the H pawn.
Yeah, his Chancellor can't reach there.
Yeah, so then I have to give up an exchange as well, so I think that's quite a bit of material, but I don't know if there's anything better.
No, what if you played Bishop takes 9?
Oh, okay, and which one? The one on G5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess,
Because threatening the queen.
yeah, and then what, the arch takes, and then I'm going to give up the J2 pawn with check?
No, just after that, just play H4.
Let's see, okay, and then, okay, yeah, what the heck, I'll try it.
And then now you have the E3 square for the Chancellor.
Yep. Well, you know, there was another sneakier option that I just saw as you guys were vocalizing it. If you played Bishop to J5, you're threatening my Archbishop and creating a vacancy for the Chancellor on G2.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't work it out tactically. I was just kind of thinking out loud, you know, like, what would I do if I was as screwed as Doug? You know, you always look for the most forceful move first. Like, even if it's ridiculous, a throwaway move, you just check it out. Now, I didn't verify it, you know. But obviously, you know, there's only one choice here for black. Well, actually, no. Yeah, I want to use my Archbishop. Hopefully, I just played Archbishop. Oh my God, yeah, it would look like it was highlighting the wrong square, so I was freaking out. Like, no.
Oh well.
Okay. Yeah, so Doug, man, always look for those crazy ass forceful moves. Like, I don't even know what the correct reply is for Bishop to J5. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I guess Archbishop to H4 looked okay, and.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the whole idea is, you know, try to look at the unlikely as well as your obvious moves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have to admit I overlooked it.
Yeah, and so did I until the last second. Matter of fact, it was something Greg said that had me look at it. I was like, hey, wait a minute. You know, guys were talking about, I'm like, hey, how about this crazy ass Bishop moves? And it may be that just loses just a little differently. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, my knee-jerk reaction for that would have just be to take the Chancellor with the Bishop.
Of course, yeah. Or the hold on a second. Oh, you moved. Okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah, Greg's probably right. Objectively, it may just have been Bishop takes Chancellor that would have been the best move.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm doing risky. I'm going in without ground support. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but all I know is I would not want to be Doug making this move against that.
Whoa.
Yeah, usually you don't go in without ground support, and I really don't have it. But your guy is vulnerable as shit right now.
No, this is not good.
mean, you've got every square you're going to is worse than where it is.
It's funny, I was thinking about playing h4, but then your archbishop just takes my chancellor, so.
Yeah, take a chance on your chancellor.
Yeah.
Not now, though.
No. It's a nasty kick.
Then again, take a look at J2.
I know. What am I going to do about that?
Get pummeled.
Let's see. Well, I guess wherever I go with my chancellor, it's not good, so I'm just going to run to the d5 square.
Yeah, I mean, and this is like an automatic no-brainer, right? Take on J2.
Okay, and I'll think real hard about my reply.
Yeah, think about it. You sure you want to go there?
I'm thinking about it, but yeah, one hand did it.
Do you want to create a branch point or whatever they call it?
A fork?
A fork?
Yeah, well,
now remember,
what else could I have done?
didn't one of your games end up with like a brink mate in a similar type position?
I can't really remember one quite like that, but I don't know.
Didn't you play a couple of games on chess.com when you were annotating them for your YouTube crowd and you got spanked in 18 moves by somebody?
Oh, now I know what you're talking about. I was trying to forget Letchworthshire.
You're trying to forget. You're supposed to learn from the tactics, not forget. This is not quite brink mate, but it's getting there. You know, if I'm doing this correctly. Hold on a second. The move order is important. Did anyone ever say that to me ever?
Maybe once in double chess.
Move order is important, as Doug clobbers me in, what was that, 4-player chess, or what was that called? Double chess, yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot to give you the most important lesson in playing this variant. Yeah, move order is important.
Yeah, speaking of which, like lesson order, you got the lesson after the game.
Yeah, if you could call it a lesson. 1 sentence summary with no analysis. Yeah, that's Doug's analysis for you. I wonder why I can't keep any of my chess students.
All right, well, this is getting kind of dicey with the dark squares.
It is, but I got to be careful, man. I'm closing doors on my bishop here. I got to make sure I can always run away. I got to E3 is not an option for me right now either, so. But you don't have any way to attack him. So, like I said, that's what I call going in without ground support, right? You know, I don't know if it was an objectively good move. Probably not. Undoubtedly, there's better, but it's the one that causes you the most pain. But as I learned from playing John Verry, sometimes doing that doesn't work because your opponent cannot see your tactical vision.
That's right.
So, look at what he does. He immediately attacks my weak bishop. Thanks, Doug. What are friends for?
Well, you know.
Yeah, that was one move I was looking at. The other one, I wonder if, unless I'm missing something, I3 might start kicking.
Oh, you got to be careful with that archbishop down there. All I had to do is blow out his bishop and get him on H3. That wouldn't be pretty, but you're right. I don't have a way to do that quickly. I could do it with some sacrificial nonsense. I gotta see what can I leave it hanging, and do some style points. No, I need it. Oh man, if only the king side was a little bit weaker, it'd be a splendid ending. Can I artificially create it though? That's the question. My favorite attack is E8. To G7 to I6, right?
Yeah, I was just checking that out.
I don't know if that works. If I can. No, that doesn't work. No, because no, that doesn't work. I can't get there. I need one more move. I need one move more. Or am I seeing a ghost? Doug, we were just talking about that, right?
Yeah. Could be seeing
you see a strong attack, but then you give your opponent a little too much credit in the defense that isn't there and not necessary. But, yeah, I can't give up that bishop. I don't know where the fuck to put him. I don't want to definitely open up your H file because there goes my attack. A lesson I learned the last time we played that game, and I swapped off all my super majors and had to just win the game with just my minor pieces.
Yeah, that'll go down as my favorite loss.
Yeah, I ended up under promoting to the Chancellor in that game, didn't I? Didn't I use the Chancellor to pry you into the corner or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like in this game, a lot of times promoting to a Chancellor isn't really like a serious under promotion. A lot of times it's almost better than the Queen, but it's always more stylish.
Yeah, you know what? Live by the sword, die by the sword. I'm going to see if I'm going to delegate the proper defense to you and play extremely riskily. Folks, do not do this at home. I highly don't recommend it, but I definitely have to defend I7 no matter what. So I got to give Doug the options.
Okay.
All right, man, go for it. You got it. If you want it, you got it.
I sense all sorts of, some super major is probably going to get sacked if I attack one.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Gosh, that darn F3 square is still a problem.
It is. And it's because of the knight on the second rank, if you remember my earlier prediction. That's usually a really good thing if you could plant a knight on your opponent's fourth rank, and they can't dislodge it. Or, that's the other thing about knight to c3, it's you got to move it again before you could launch the c-pawn, right?
That's right.
That's why whenever I play, move like knight to c6, I make sure I am at least contesting d4, where it can't be trivially ousted by a move like pawn to c3, and obviously that was the case here.
Yeah, if I didn't have to guard that F3 square, I might move the bishop somewhere, but it's just going to hang right off the bat. Pretty well.
If only I had more pieces on the board to defend the weak ones, I'd win every game.
I'd be doing great. All right, well, I'm going to play a move. I think it's just a matter of time before you stomp me here, but I'm going to play I3 and supposedly kick your archbishop, but just trying to create a little room for my king because it seems like he's about to get checkmated between the chancellor and the pieces on that diagonal from d8 to
God, I was thinking I could pin the king by playing chancellor to I6. How catastrophic would that have been?
Whoa.
I'm like, he's in the J file. Fuck, take a look again. Oops, I shouldn't have said that, right? We have a...
It's family.
Yeah, so I got to move the archbishop, and I can't get X. You're guarding H3 like a son of a gun.
Oh, one thing I was going to tell you, Ed, is, all these chess channels out there, they have such, nicely, softly spoken, no bad language streamers, and it's like we need to have like the potty mouth streamers. So let's get Ed on here and just let him, turn him loose, say whatever's on his mind. So don't hold back.
Don't hold back. Yeah, sometimes I think out loud, too often. As people put it nicely. And plus, that was a good move because it keeps my chancellor off of I6 too. Not just kicking the archbishop, but now my pieces are in its own way. Like, what's that? The Grimshaw, when one piece of a similar movement is blocking a piece that has the identical type movements.
That's right.
And in problem compositions, I think they call it a Grimshaw. I don't know, but you just Grimshawed me.
All right.
If that's the right term. I'm sure 1,000 people will comment on it and tell me how wrong I am.
I don't know what it means, but it sounds cool to say I Grimshawed somebody.
Well, I mean, it's like you're forcing my archbishop to a square that's blocking my chancellor like a knight, and the archbishop can move like a knight. So two pieces that have the same knight move are competing for the same square, and usually it's advantageous to the side that forces the Grimshaw.
Right.
Grimshaw is not an objective for the player who's Grimshawed. Let's just say that. And now I don't know. Now I'm like Doug. I don't know what to do.
That's pretty much how I feel.
I'm kind of like I'm in a little bit of a disorganized retreat, and I got to keep my eye on my bishop. But the question is, do I have anything that breaks through? And I don't see anything.
So I don't know. Maybe Greg saw what I was seeing, and I might have been seeing ghosts. But I thought when I kicked the archbishop, maybe, Ed, you could have just ignored it and played the chancellor to where the archbishop is on I6, And I felt like
that's what I was looking at too, but it was a little too muddy for me, and this looks safe. I mean, I'm not infallible, but I'm pretty sure.
Well, yeah, I don't think the attack works because you remember you got the Archbishop Bishop battery that could cover the diagonal that the king's on.
Yeah, there's too much. He has too much control over H3. I thought.
Yeah, you might be right.
But we'll have to see. We'll open it up to analysis from the peanut gallery. If anyone has a recommended move I should have made, then we obviously check it out. All right, I'm just gonna play probably the lamest, easiest expected move ever in the history of the game here.
Yeah, it's pretty strong. Simplest is best. Well,
I mean, I'm under no pressure, of any kind, so I'll just kind of regroup and. I don't think that there was any tactical win there, but it'd be a great position to look at, later, obviously.
Yeah, it looks like I'm going to lose some material here.
As long as it's white, I don't care. Yeah, can I just keep chasing him without mercy? No, because you could.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you'd have to guard at least one move in there, and maybe that would give me a chance to get out of town.
I don't like giving chancellors any chances.
That's right.
Let's see. 1 potato, 2 potato. Where's the queen going to go? I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Wherever I go, it's going to be worse for you and better for me. So do I give it up or not? I don't know. No pressure now. Just everyone's watching me not do good in a strong position. I'm renowned for doing, stuff like that.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so
I see a sneaky move for me. I see a sneaky move for me.
Okay, well, if I just keep running, then I think you will win material by forking the Chancellor and Knight.
You can't fork a Chancellor and Knight, because that means one of them can capture.
Really? Not if the pawn's forking them.
Oh, the pawn. I thought you meant fork it with a knight.
Oh, no. Not a knight fork. Let's see.
I forked your Chancellor and Knight with a knight. Well, yes. I disagree with the terminology.
Yeah, speaking of forks, I can't really take that pawn on b7 because of that fork to my
Oh, come on. You just ruined my surprise.
So, yeah, I guess I don't know. Where should I put this Chancellor here? Do I go to c4 or a4?
Take a chance with the Chancellor.
Yeah, let's see. Well, neither one of them's any good, so.
Pick the lesser of two evils.
c4, a4, c4, a4. I don't know which one's lesser.
This is where you need the lesser of two evils evaluation function in your brain.
I think it's the equal of two evils.
I think A4 is better, personally, because then you can back it up to A3 and then hop it away to B1, maybe.
Yeah, it's just, unfortunately, there's a pawn fork there, and there's not much I can do about it, either way.
I agree, so I'm going to just follow everyone's wonderful advice and just continue chasing.
So yeah, no choices here, really. Just backing off.
Oh my god, I can't believe you went there.
Yeah, now if I'd gone to c4, I could have gone to a3, and it would actually have just worked out to be the same. That's why I figured instead of lesser of two evils, it's the same of two evils.
Alright, so while you're distracted there, do I have anything better? No, not really. Ooh, this might be gutsy, but it's losing. Damn! Why do all of my unbelievable tactics fail by one frickin' move?
Oh, that happens more often than you think,
Yeah, you know what it is? It's like I keep forgetting after I create this unbelievable, amazing, what you would call style points tactic, that the other guy gets to move too.
Yeah, I hate that part.
So I get like maybe 6 or 7 plies worth into the analysis, and then I forget it's the other guy's turn to move after the tail of the scorpion, he gets to move and you can't get it. But you know what? Let me think. Let me count this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, F3 is going to be your downfall here, Doug.
Really?
Yeah. And my earlier prediction comes right. Yeah, my knight is going to get to the 3rd rank, and you're going to be screwed because now your chancellor's behind 2 blockers on the 3rd rank, and I'm going to be able to play my knight to F3. It's going to cost me, though, and I got to make sure I do this right. Hold on a second. 1, 2. 3rd move. Is that forced? No, that isn't forced. You got choices. Now I got to go through all your damn recapture choices. 1. See, this is the hard part. This is why I need 2 boards. If I had 2 boards, I could crush you with this tactic because I would know if it will work or not. But I don't. Yeah, this is going to hurt me first and then you, I think. Because, tail of the scorpion wins.
Sure,
Watch the tail of scorpion in this tactic. This is what Bobby Fischer meant. Do I attack with the head of the scorpion or the tail of the scorpion? This is going to be, I start with the head of the scorpion, but the tail of the scorpion is going to kill you.
I don't like fighting scorpions, heads or tails.
Are you ready? Let me just double check this mentally. Yeah, this is the attack leading with the head of the scorpion, which is my weakest piece on the board. That's why it's disposable. But the tail of the scorpion, when he bites, by the way, this is me giving up a lot of material. This should work if I count it right.
Now, when you're playing a game and you kind of expect your opponent to do certain things and not do certain things, I totally overlooked that the queen could take. So I wonder if Greg was looking at it like, why doesn't Doug just take that knight on F2? So what do you think, Ed, if I'd taken that? Oh, I said knight on F2. If I'd taken that bishop on F2, would that have been, the smarter move than playing I kind of reflexively played H4 to give some breathing room around my king?
Well, that walks into a tactic.
Okay. Yeah, I was reflexively playing it, and then I'm like, well, I wonder if I should have just taken the bishop, especially with my...
Well, you know what? We could wait for users to put comments in the video when the video is released. Plus, you and I can look at it after the game and see. I can show you what the danger is.
Yeah, we'll do another video after this where we can go back later and analyze that position and numerous other ones. Let's see, what are we going to do here? Do I take with the rook or do I take with the pawn? Or I guess if I really didn't want to lose material, I might just say I want to hang on to my knight and back off with my chancellor so you can't fork me, but that would obviously be crazy because my king position would go to shambles faster than it already is. So
I'll give you a hint. I'm sacrificing my archbishop next.
Whoa. Okay, well, that means I should take with the pawn because I'd rather give up a pawn for an archbishop than a rook.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God, I can't believe you believed that.
You're so dumb. How could you believe that?
I'm kidding.
And now you see why Ed will always win because Doug is dumb.
No, I double checked it. You obviously have to take it.
Oh, right. Do I have to take that archbishop? I don't know.
Look where my queen is. That should answer your question immediately. What happens if my queen's on the long diagonal that's white?
Well, it'd be checking me.
Well, and then what?
I'd block with the bishop.
Okay, so you can't see that mate sequence. Okay.
Let's see. Oh, well, there's the chancellor coming in, so I'm sure there's some kind of mate sequence. I just don't know, the exact number of moves.
I'll give you a hint. If you play rook takes h4, I'm going to play queen takes h4.
Yeah, I did kind of assume that. I did actually see that. Believe it or not. I know. Okay, so...
I told you this was going to hurt me a little bit, but look, the vulnerability is your F3 square.
Yeah, not to mention the I file and the J file.
Well, the one that's going to possibly cause you the ultimate demise. But yeah, you don't have an I file and a J file. You got a lone king down there. Wishing his guard didn't abandon him.
Yeah. Oh no. There's going to be so many checks on those files here in a second. Okay, so go ahead and tick it, and then I'll illustrate to the fans out there watching how a pre-move works. I just did a pre-move, and I know it's a shocker.
What's your move? I don't see it yet.
Oh, you didn't see my rook takes arch?
Oh yeah, I played queen takes rook.
Oh, okay. So it is my turn then, okay. And...
Oh, I thought you had a pre-move to my response here.
Oh.
I thought so.
Oh, you know what? I did the pre-move, but I didn't actually pre-move my pre-move, which means it essentially wasn't a pre-move at all. Okay, so...
Yeah. That's called a knee move.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? A knee move instead of a pre-move. Okay. What to do? I don't know. I guess the only thing I can see that would maybe hold off the checkmate for a little bit is that.
Yeah, that was correct, obviously. People at home should know that, you got to guard H3 like your life depended on it, because it does. And this is why I was talking about F3 so much.
I know. There's nothing I can do about it.
Right. Well, let's see. Yeah. I'm going to do it.
He's going in.
Going in.
Okay, I'm doing the queen.
That was a good defensive move. That was obviously necessary, right?
I know, it does seem like it was necessary. I thought about it. I could go to, I2, but I don't know. I thought you could check me and then get your chancellor over and pin my queen to my king. And
yeah, it took me too long to get my chancellor over into that I file. That was because of the Grimshaw.
Grimshawed Ed. Yes. Doesn't matter what happens in the game, results-wise, as long as I can say, I Grimshawed Ed. So many people.
He defended that pretty well. Either that or I gave up too much.
Only time will tell.
Let's see. Or possibly both.
Okay, let's see. Well,
that's why I said, don't do this at home, folks.
I think you only had that move.
Yeah, looks kind of forced. Here comes the chancellor to I3. I want to hit your queen, maybe even the knight. Boy, I sure wish my chancellor were on the opposite side of the board from where it is right now.
Yeah, he took a little tour.
Yes.
Let's see. You could probably do a pre-move here, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'll illustrate the actual pre-move if it happened. Okay, so I've got one pre-moved in there.
Oh shit!
For those at home,
where did my queen go? I was trying to play queen takes queen check. Did it show up?
Right now it shows up. Oh, okay, now it does. Okay, so I got to actually illustrate how a pre-move works, where it showed up as it would happen if you played it, and then you played it, and now it's your actual turn, and it shows up.
Because as soon as I dropped the queen, it disappeared from the board. I was like, where did it go?
Oh, that's crazy. But yeah, if anybody was paying attention here, where my little pointer hand is, it had boxes showing if this then that, and then now it's actually been this and then that. So here we are in the actual real-time position. But those pre-moves can get kind of crazy, because you jump out of the game, you've pre-moved something, you go back in, and it shows what would happen if the pre-moves happened, and then that kind of can confuse you because a lot of times the pre-moves don't actually take place. Okay, so I'm touching my archbishop, but where do I put it?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to go to I3 because I don't want your Chancellor to go to J4.
Why not?
It just looked like it was going to be attacking too many things at once. Looks like,
Well,
I don't know if I'd hang a bishop out of that or not.
I'll just go to J6 then. How's that? Any better?
Yeah, it's hard to stop that Chancellor, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a lot of things.
He's still in front of your king. Chancellors tend to be objectively better in back of the king when you need to vacuum material, but I don't think I need to focus on vacuuming up material now. I just got to see if there's a mate combination.
Right.
And I don't see it yet, you know, but I sure wouldn't want to be white right now.
Yeah, now if I retreat with the king, I just hang the archbishop on the next move. So I guess I got to throw away a bishop.
You're throwing away your biscuit?
I got to throw away the biscuit because otherwise I throw away the archbiscuit.
Yeah, no sense in being fancy, I guess, right?
Nah, I wouldn't.
Yeah, there's no other combination here.
Okay, well, look at this. I get a check. Yay!
Oh, man, now what do? I can castle, right?
Yeah, and you're not even going to be able to castle this game. So not only have I Grimshawed you this game, but I even took away your castling ability.
Oh, wait a minute. That's right. Knights can't move backwards to block checks, right?
Right, you could do that.
I forgot. Wait a minute. Do knights know how to walk backwards? They're horse.
Or you could do that. I was trying to trick you.
That only happens on Halloween.
Okay, well, let's see here.
Well, at least your archbishop's not pinned.
Yeah, I do have that going for me. Look at all those connected passed pawns on the king side. That's not going to be good. So it's weird, you know. Well, let's see. Okay, so I'm down a rook, but I'm up an archbishop. But the fact is, I'm actually down a ton of material because I can easily get forked on the queen side. You got tons of passed pawns, and my king has 0 safety.
Dad, I'm almost sleepy.
Okay. Oh, all right. So it's going to be a painful, quick death here in a minute. So much for being up a super major, huh?
Yeah, I don't think this was any surprise, was it, that move?
Simplest is best.
Pretty sure nobody would question a resignation here.
I'm just going to start throwing away stuff here, give you the stylish checkmate. Or maybe you could promote to a whole bunch of, you could get your whole army back, get an archbishop.
No, that's a Doug Dysart move.
That would be my method, yeah. If you're not going to resign, then I'm just going to reincarnate my whole army.
I know, and I've seen you do it too.
And I had
how many knights did you promote against that guy? Like 5 at one point?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's my usual style, is to just go get a stable.
I just want to make sure I don't fat finger myself into oblivion.
Now I'll just play the only legal move, which is probably going to happen a number of times unless there's a checkmate.
Can I mate with the knight here?
Yeah, is that that's a checkmate, isn't it? Whoa.
Let me see.
That's stylish.
Yeah, because you can't get to H2.
Yeah, it's a checkmate.
Yeah, that's a checkmate.
That's a cute mate. Oh.
It's an Arabian mate, kind of.
I know, it's rough. All right, well, there you go. That's a pretty good game. I don't know.
Yeah, it was instructional, you know, like there was good commentary. You know, we had an audience.
I know.
It's the first time we had like a live audience, you know, for a game.
I know. Is that awesome or what? And you got style points ending there. That's a good checkmate.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I still think I missed something earlier, but I just don't know what it was. We'll let it for the peanut gallery to figure out. You know, they love to correct me when I don't play good.
That's right. Yeah, so with the...
So I guess you're going to upload this as a video, then make an announcement into the Discord for people?
That's right.
All right, man. Good playing you. I really got to get a drink right now. I am like so dehydrated.
Oh, no.
And I'll connect with you later. So let's sign off. Keep the video from getting too long. It's probably pretty long as it is. And text me when you have something uploaded so I can take a look at it.
Yeah, and it might take a minute, like you said, with it being long, but I think it was a real good game, and I hope Greg enjoyed it. I know this would be a lot of fun to go back over, and I want to check out some of these positions, like what if the queen had taken the bishop?
Yeah, that would be worth it, but I already worked that out.
Oh, okay.
That was not a mistake, but it looks like it to the amateurs, like the people who first start playing. So it would be worthy commentary to have in the comments section, or maybe we just do a quick video showing the consequences of queen takes bishop.
Yeah, and we'll use purple screens, purple squares.
We don't necessarily have to do that, but that's one of the things I do, obviously, in the books that I write.
Right.
And Greg, it was great seeing you here. Drunk Pyromaniac on Discord if anyone wants to say hi. And I'll see you guys online.
All right, we'll see you.
All right, take it easy.
See you later.
Bye.